some headphones for the beginning, just to
No, man, all good.
hear some tunage. We are an audio experience as well as the visual experience. You know what I mean?
Say less. Say
Right.
less. Say
Looking-
lesser
looking-
than less. Lesser than less.
I was starting the podcast off the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and we were running some tunes.
Mm-hmm.
Said, "Yo, Cardinal got a new tune up." Everything's good on there?
You know the long leg thing, so I'm just trying to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the things I can just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know when my legs are constricted, we're getting older, you know what I mean? The knees start to hurt.
Bro, I'm 6'4". Me can't bend up my knee there for so long. You understand?
You know what? Let me ask you something quick, fast, before we get into the music part, right?
All right.
Because you've always been a showman, bro. You've always
Hold on, the show start?
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah, we're recording. We're
Okay,
recording.
okay,
Rolling Star.
okay.
Rolling Star.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Right? You've always had like an amazing stage show. From back in the days, I used to watch your shows when we used to open for you enough times.
Yes.
Did you have like a workout regimen to do those shows, or was it just young energy?
Young energy. To this day, it's well, I guess we can't call it's youngish energy still to this day.
Hold on, bro, because now we're older now. You're telling me you don't do anything because your shows are still as energetic. You don't do
we stretch.
anything?
We stretch.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We stretch.
Good.
I mean, listen, and that's loose. So don't worry, you're gonna hear loose talk.
Pause.
But nah, you know what it is, my G? Like, when I was a youth, I used to be in a group called YBP, and that stood for Young Black Panthers. You know what I'm saying? So I was in a group called YBP, and then the man them said it was, well, not the man them, our parents, because they were the managers at the time. But they're like, yo, they're like, it might be a little bit too harsh for the Canadian people.
Yeah.
So we just changed it to young, black, and positive. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, man. So, you know what I mean? Shout out to, man, I don't know where Anthony is. Anthony was actually from the States. He was from Detroit, but shout out, and he had moved to Toronto. But shout out to Anthony Ross. Shout out to Chance Lewis. I think Chance is in Atlanta right now.
And this is pre-Cardinal, the name Cardinal.
Yeah. Many moons before that.
Yeah.
That wasn't, you know what I mean? But the reality is that we had some militant people that used to train us from like, I'm talking like we're 13, 14. So it's like we used to do certain regiments to where it's like, shout out to a downtown legend, Snooky Tynes. Snooky Tynes. I feel like Snooky was Scotian, I'm pretty sure Snooky was Scotian, but he used to be a James Brown impersonator back in the day.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And he used to do a bag of shows around Toronto and thing. But my mom, she used to teach at Ryerson Public School, was right in the middle of Alexander Park. You know what I'm saying? Alexander Park downtown.
Yeah.
So my mom was a teacher there. So I actually went there for grade 7 and 8.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when we were down there, you know what I mean? There's a lot of downtown legends, you know what I mean, that I met over the years. And one of them was Snooky Tynes. And Snooky, we used to do all kind of things. We used to do, Anthony's dad was in the military in America, so he taught us about like all these drill moves, like what the S1Ws would do with Public Enemy. So we used to do that. But then Snooky was the first person, I think, as a sorry, hold on. Team Chappelle is calling me. My bad. Sorry. That one I would never interrupt a podcast, but when them on they call, we have to see what I go on. So my bad, people. No disrespect in every aspect.
We'll cut back in a second.
All right, bye bye. Oh boy. All right. Sorry about that, my bro.
No worries.
Yeah.
So okay, the workout regimen and how we got there.
Snooky Tynes. So
Snooky Tynes. Snooky
was somebody that he used to bring us out to I have to mind my words. I was gonna say bring us out to the track, but it has different connotations. Literal track and field track.
Yeah.
And we used to have to jog around that joint doing our lyrics.
What?
Over and over. So we would have, never mind like 400 meters, 800 meters. We just have to keep going, just keep jogging around. And you know what I'm saying? We would have to say our lyrics, or we'd be in a rehearsal space and we'd have to be able to like, you know what I mean? Do all the movements and thing while reciting our lyrics same time to be able to, you know what I mean? Show us how to breathe. And really, you know what I mean? Like that was, I think from a youth kid, that was the first time that like I ever understood showmanship was from, you know, those local people, the community people.
Yeah.
Shout out to, you know, obviously the Fresh Arts times. If people don't know Fresh Arts, that was like the predecessor for the remix program that's going on right now.
Yes.
So there's, you know, a bag of Toronto legends that, you know what I mean, that participated in the Fresh Arts program over the years. But, you know, through mentorship, through Fresh Arts, we also honed in on our skills, you know what I mean? And I think that one really was a crazy time, you understand? Because that's when the circle formed during the Fresh Arts era.
Yeah.
So you have myself, Socrates, Marvel, Anthem, Y-Look, Solitaire, Terra Chase, Julie Black. Like, you know what I mean? You
Everybody
had so many of us,
yeah.
and we were at them time that we're not now, but we were like so hungry to like, you know what I mean, to get on into the industry and really make a mark. So them times there, like we are also rehearsing
non-stop. That sounds like rap boot camp to me, man.
You know what? I think I can't even limit it to rap though, because the reality is that, yes, all those people that used to help mentor us, but then we also looked up to the best performers at the time. So of course, nobody outdid Busta Rhymes at them time.
Yeah.
He was the guy. I remember my first show this is after Leaders of the New School, like the first Busta Rhymes solo show that was at, what did they used to call government before? RPM? Or Warehouse. I think Warehouse might have been RPM. But anyway, I remember seeing Busta in the late 90s as a youth. And I remember this man, this is the wild Busta with the crazy dreads, MAGA Busta.
Yeah.
And I remember this man, like, you know what I'm saying, by the end of the show, this man tear off all them shirts, and like he's standing up on top of the stack of speakers up top.
That's
just
crazy.
wilding out. So, you know, Busta Rhymes, KRS-One, when you used to see, like, I don't know if people were there, legendary show when KRS-One, this is after concert hall days. He had a show at the Opera House.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I remember that show was live. I remember that's the time that, like, he had just done the demo of the tune that Diamond D produced for him. Remember the All I Really Need Is a Friend.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Remember that tune?
Yeah.
I remember the man played it out of the MPC.
Crazy.
Played the rhythm out the MPC, bro. And I remember he performed it, you know, for the crowd live at the time. Like those, like looking up to those people and seeing how those guys used to perform, you know what I mean? Like, really had a profound effect on how my whole crew, how we used to perform.
Yeah.
And then the other reality to that, and then, you know, we can go on to something, but is that when I got on and I signed my first deal to MCA back in 2000, the first 2 tours that I did from that time was Shaggy and Baby Sham.
Okay.
Because them time, you know how it is already. They're like, well, this guy's Jamaican, they're Jamaican,
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? Just put them together on tour and, you know, labels doing label stuff.
Yes,
but
yes.
the reality is that I really did, even though Shaggy was like more like super pop crossover kind of thing, I learned, like I watched him and his band like showmanship. You understand?
Yeah, he still comes from a dancehall roots.
But you know what? The thing is though, like, I don't know what the show is like now, but I don't doubt that it's very similar, is that you didn't watch him and you didn't see his show and necessarily see dancehall. You just saw a performer. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just saw somebody that went up there and was incredible at their show. And I think that was dope because the time that I met Shaggy, things weren't going in. You understand? Like it wasn't moving.
Yeah.
And I got to see what it was like when It Wasn't Me, when it caught, and how it built up into the man, you know, his album went diamond, bridge.
Yeah.
I was there, you know what I mean, for a lot of that. We had the same product manager at MCA, you know what I'm saying? So I got, you know what I mean, I got behind the scenes, I got to see what was going and what went into, you know what I'm saying, the success of that magnitude.
Yeah, you got to see everything behind the velvet rope.
That's right. Right. And then with Baby Sham now, to this day, if you see Baby Sham didn't have no hype man, no nothing. Baby Sham is performing every single lyric clear as day, while dancing, jumping on stage.
Yeah.
And I used to say, yo, you think I have energy? I used to say, yo, Sham. But he used to show me, he's like, yo, Kardi, same thing. He's like, yo, I would run miles on the beach every morning. Get the, you know what I mean? Loose talk, get the stamina up.
Yeah.
So he would, you know what I mean? So them man, they're like, when you see real performing people, them man, they're trained for that. And I think
they
for
do
us,
a lot of cardio.
Yeah. And I think for us right now, it's a lot of muscle memory. But you know, the reality is, it's a joke thing. I'm gonna do a piece of content on it. Yo, there's man's that's like, yo, this man Kardi's on Ozempic. I was like, oh, Ozempic. I said, the man's in the gym. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm just trying to eat healthy, trying to, you know what I mean, stay fit and in the thing, because I do not want to be one of those guys that you see on the stage where you're like, yo, get this old guy out of here, bro.
No, fam. Like,
you know
there's been times like you go to see like a nostalgia act.
Yes.
And you haven't seen them publicly in a while, or you might just see this. You see this half of them up on Instagram. You see it? And then they come out on the stage.
Yes.
And in the bottom, their belly's coming out, and you're like, holy. Then you remember, oh shit, they're almost 50, or they're like 54.
Yeah, Brethren, the other day I saw, you know, shout out to Chuck D. The man's 65 years old, bro.
Yeah.
65.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now, mind you, he started older. You know what I mean? Like, I think he was like 29 when I was a picnic. He was 29.
Yeah.
So he, you know what I mean? He already started in the game late, but you know, it's a beautiful thing, bro, to see the game elevate, to see people elevate, and what that can look like. Because what we're doing right now is we're creating the landscape for what it's going to look like for, you know what I mean, the younger generation, like when they get to, dare I say, our age. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's a thing to where, bro, although J. Cole called himself the middle child and all that, I really feel like a true mid-schooler right now. You know what I mean?
Yes. You know what? We'll get into it.
Okay.
Let's start it off.
Yes.
And because I have so much stuff that coincides with that. But
wicked.
Let's get into some new shit.
Yes.
Start it off with some let him out.
Let him out! Yes!
Let's start it off, man. Yo, that track right there,
Not gonna lie, I literally almost gave myself a run.
That's me.
Yo,
that's you, bro.
Yo, but you know what? Let me tell you about that song, there, bro. Like, I produced it, I wrote it, every single. It's a 100%er, and there were a few songs that I was thinking about to release as my first song. You know what I mean? The first, but you see, when I made that, I was like, oh, respect you, like, to God for real, because I was like, I needed something that embodied how I feel sonically, like how that song sounds. Is how I feel.
Yes.
That's the energy right now.
Yes.
I needed to be able to do something that sounded uniquely Cardinal. So when people hear it, they're like, oh man, this is futuristic, but it has the Kardi foundation. But then also, I needed to say something.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I needed for us to have the energy, and when we hear it, we can have the energy, but at the same time, when you're listening, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna take something from it and be able to apply that to life. And I think that's just where I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
I love to hear it, man. Let me give you the proper introduction here, man.
Aye.
Because we got this gentleman here. This is the second appearance, but for the people who've been following the network, you might have seen him back on the show 6 years ago.
Was it 6 years?
Yeah. Wow, it was a while back, bro. Man.
Wow.
But I have the honor to have this gentleman back in the building again now that we know how to podcast way better. Okay? This gentleman has been a trailblazer from time, G, in this scene here. When you ask people internationally about Canadian hip-hop, the first names that come to mind, like when they say three names, it's usually like KARDINAL OFFISHAL, Maestro Fresh West. They'll say, oh, Chaclair.
Depends on how old they are.
Depends on how old they are.
Depends on which generation.
However, when you start getting to younger generations and you say, yo, Canadian hip hop, they'll say Drake, The Weeknd, KARDINAL OFFISHAL.
Yes.
The name is always the same names that come up because this guy has been able to stamp his flag in the Canadian and international hip hop scene.
Yes, sir.
He is also working behind the scenes now, being able to help young artists coming up all right, from these label offices. I also see him on the side of buses for advertising for Canada's Got Talent. With no further ado, we have the return of Kardinal Official in the motherfucking building. Let's go.
Yes, my general.
Welcome back, bro.
Bless up your life, my bro.
Yo, man. It's an honor to have you back in here,
it's
man.
It's good to be back in the legendary spot, man.
Yo, man. Okay, so out of all the different things that I was mentioning, can you tell me about one of the things I seen? I seen you wearing the Def Jam jacket, and I said, holy shit.
Right.
Because I already know you were working behind the scenes with Uni. So tell me about how that came to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Just to like not belabor the thing and just get straight to it. You know, what do the industry people say? Got my chops.
Got your chops.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Working in the Canadian industry at Universal Music Canada. You know what I mean? So that was for me kind of my entry point in terms of being like an executive for real.
Yes.
Or at least a formalized version of it. You know what I mean? It's something where, shout out to my lawyer, Theo Settlemeyer. That's the Don of Dons when it comes to lawyers. You know what I'm saying? And for those that don't know, look him up. But over the years, that's legal attorney for, you know, over the years from Eminem, 50 Cent, DJ Khaled, myself, Mobb Deep, Drake, like almost some of the biggest heavy hitters that ever, you know what I mean, walk the earth more time, you know, man like Theo.
And that's the entertainment lawyer for y'all.
That's right.
Not criminal lawyer. Don't get cute. All right, continue.
Definitely an entertainment
No, because
lawyer.
A lot of people who watch this, they be like, yo, fam, where can I get that lawyer? No, he's not for you, fam.
Well, if you're dope, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But he's not going to get you off of your charge, bro.
But yeah, man, legendary lawyer, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to Theo. Like, I've been with Theo, yo, at this point in time, like more than 25 years. And when I first met Theo, you know what I'm saying, like young white Jewish guy or whatever, but it's funny because he used to have like, you know, the dress pants and his dress shirt tuck in, but when you used to see him at like the parties or the events, tuck into his Timberland boots. You understand what I'm saying? Anybody that knows Theo knows them days are long gone. Like, he's a different character, but at the same time, like very instrumental for me to help me get some of the great deals throughout my career. And to be completely honest, he was the second lawyer that I had, but literally, you know, after the first one who was trash, more time, like for real for him, people don't understand how important legal representation is in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people are like, yo, man, like, you know, people will come up with all kind of different random conspiracy theories as to like why this happens for this person or why people can't get the same opportunities or whatever the situation is. But I think what my generation really, really did receive, if I'm being completely honest, is that we came up at a time where there were a lot of conferences.
Yes.
There were a lot of different ways for people to safely network, meet different people in the industry, different artists, all these different type of things. And it's like the relationships are, people don't understand, like the person-to-person, interpersonal skills are still mad important. Doesn't matter if you're a street nigga, if you're a corporate nigga, whatever. It's like, for me to be able to know you and say, yo, I could, you know what I mean? Like literally give you a daps and look you eye to eye, as opposed to just like a 1-2 over IG, a text. You know what I'm saying? Like reaching out in a DM. And when a man or a woman don't know you, don't have that kind of relationship, that rapport, then a man feels like, yo, a man's dissing me. A man, half the time a man's not this, he just don't know you. You got, you know what I mean? I tell, yo, one of the most important things that my mentors showed me and that I show almost everybody that I meet, and it's no diss to the country, but you got to dip. You got to dip. You can't just stay here and then wonder why things not going for you. You gotta go wherever, bro. It depends on what your goal is, but you gotta yo, if your thing is like, if you're into the Japanese style thing, the anime and the this and the go to Japan.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, are somebody that like, you're like, yo, I feel like I relate to them niggas in New York or Atlanta, then go.
Yeah.
Go meet those producers. Go, you know what I mean? Go spend some time in the scene and meet those folks. You know what I mean? And that's what me and the crew did, and especially myself for a lot of years.
Yes.
Is we know these people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and it's not just about like you met somebody. Is that person now, if they go into our next room and a man say, yo, you know Friday? A man might be like, I don't know who that is. And you might be like, yo, but I just met this nigga. That's because it's not about who you know, but also who knows you. That you made an impression upon a person
just to say, the
to where it's going to stay with them, to where they're like, oh, that youth from Toronto? Oh, yo, I met him. I like that guy. Vibe is wicked. Some people don't understand how far that goes. You know what I mean? Just to where you might be able to meet somebody and just the way that you deal with them on a level to where they're like, yo, if I ever have an opportunity, I'm gonna
holler at you.
I'm gonna holler at this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a real life thing. That's what happened with 50.
Okay.
When I met 50, it was during we were at the Mix Show Power Summit in, was it Puerto Rico? I think it was Puerto Rico, but it's like it was one of the biggest.
That's early 2000s, yeah.
It was like, no, that's 2003, I think. That's when it dropped, right? So we're all there at this conference, bro, and I mean the biggest artists in the world, you know what I mean? Loose, but, you know, anybody from a 50, Queen Latifah, Gangstar, rest in peace, Jam Master Jay, like, just everybody.
Angru.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. Angru, you know, Dipset, like, just you know what I mean? Like, there's just everybody. And I remember, you know what, it might have been a little bit earlier than that. But when I met Fifth, the man was them time there, this is like bulletproof vest Fifth.
Yeah.
And he's rolling with like 100 mans through this car. He has to. You know what I mean? But I remember, yo, the man stopped everybody, you know, and the man, because everybody's just, as he's moving through, everybody's like, yo, you have 50, he's the new guy, you know what I mean? The biggest guy in the industry. And the man stopped me and said, yo, I fuck with you, yo. And I'm saying to myself, me? And the man's like, yo, that old time killing shit, that dance that you do. He's like, yo, I fuck with that. And I was like, respect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just remember at the time, you know, shout out to Mr. Morgan.
Salute.
Yeah. And I remember we were like, yo, that's wild. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, but the thing is, about three or four other times throughout that weekend that we were there, the 3 or 4 days, every time he saw me, he stopped me to have a conversation. And we would just, he's like, yo, so, you know, what was that? Like, yo, that energy or that thing that you guys are doing or that thing that you say or whatever. And I'm just showing him, I'm just like, yo, that's just some Toronto thing. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, the man's them, we were all on the video shoot and, you know, stuff that we do around the way or that we do at house parties or whatever the vibes was. We're like, yo, let's just try and put that in the video.
Yeah.
And I remember the man said to me, he's like, yo, I want you to go on tour with me, yo. I'm gonna draw for you. I remember I was like, whatever.
Sure.
Whatever. You know what I mean? And the reality is, I think 2 or 3. I've been on a couple tours with 50.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but I don't take those things lightly. But the thing that I'm saying is that, like, I was just myself. You know what I mean? And we just had like a honest exchange. We just chopped it up. You know what I mean? Just had a real conversation. It wasn't no dick riding thing. It wasn't no whatever. It was just, you know what I mean? Just like, just 2 grown men just having a conversation. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, I rate 50 for being a real one because we had the conversation, and a lot of times industry people will tell you things and then you just never see them people. They change their number, all that bullshit. 50 is not one of them people, you know what I mean? Like, yo, the man, when he was shooting the movie, and a lot of people know, if you don't know, you know, those watching from like wherever you're at, UK, New York, wherever you're watching, a lot of that movie was filmed in Toronto, as we know.
The Get Rich or Die Trying movie.
That's right. And Bridget, yo, it was Easter Sunday. And the man, I get a call from Theo, same Theo I was talking about. See the segue there? I didn't even mean for it to happen, but Theo gave me a call and he's like, yo, Fifth wants somewhere to record. And I'm like, okay, I'm giving him all these different studios. He's like, nah. He wants to come to the crib. because he don't trust none of these places.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I just remember I was like, all right, and Bridget, the man rolled up with like I was still Oakwood and Vaughn them time there, but he rolled up with like 3 SUVs and a bunch of big security man, you know what I'm saying? Like
Sky brought all these people to the hood, bro.
you know what I'm saying? And the man came through and like, we just recorded a bunch of things and he hung out.
So wait, you were tracking him?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what I did. Like from I got my first deal, inside the deal, we had it to where we included money to build a studio. You know what I'm saying? So there was a cutout in my contract to where they had, you know what I mean, a monetary provision to build the studio. So I had a studio at the crib.
Yes.
So, over the years, enough people came through there. Bungie, Garland, 50 Cent, this, that, whatever. Like,
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? It was just a vibe. But yeah, man, I say all that to say that relationship came from literally, you know what I mean? Like, we all heard the story of Fifth shot 9 times, gangster this, Ray, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the, humans are humans, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we just, we talked and, he's always been a real one, but it's just a real life example. I don't want people to be like, this nigga capping Ray. Nah, bro, it's a thing to where like, this is a real life thing. We just chopped it up.
Yeah.
And he's like, I rate you. And that was it. You know what I'm saying? So just one example of plenty of how like, person to person relationships really matter and can grow into something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not always a transactional relationship though.
Yeah.
Meaning not everybody you meet, you're like, you want something from them or they want something from you. Sometimes you just daps people up, you meet them and you're like, that's a good youth. And anytime you see them, they're like, my nigga, what up?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then it just turns out later.
That's right.
So that's with Def Jam, right?
Hmm?
That's with Def Jam.
What's that?
Getting into Def Jam, just relationships got you into Def Jam.
A little bit. This is a different story. We don't really need to get into the circumstances of the fine details.
No.
You know what I mean? We can another time, but like for the sake of what we're going in and stay on the energy, it was just a time where, to be honest, I wasn't even sure. Never mind Universal up here or whatever.
Right.
The energy, like I didn't know if I wanted to do it anymore. The A&R thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, the industry can drain you in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Compared to the artist thing. And I was just like, because I was doing the both of them, still am, but simultaneously. Yeah. At the time, I was just like, you know what? I think I might be done. And, shout out to, I don't even know if I can shout them out. There's so much controversy with UMG right now. But the reality is for my story and my legacy, the mans that at Universal said to me at the time, they're like, hey, listen, we don't want to see you across the street with the competition. Yeah. So what do we have to do? You know what I mean?
To keep you in the building.
To keep you with, you know what I mean? Like within the mans them. And I said, loose. And I said, I went to LA and I had a great conversation with them. And at the time, man, like Tunji Balagoon, who was at RCA, who had Keep Cool, he signed, oh man, he did so many things over there. Khalid, SZA, WizKid, like just crazy amount of people, heavy hitters over there. He had just become the CEO like couple months, or I think he was supposed to start in like a month from the conversation. They're like, yo, Tunji's about to run Def Jam. And I was like, yo, first of all, what people don't know, and it's a great story of you better like deal with everybody in the same way. Because you never know who is going to, you can't diss nobody. Yeah. Not that you should anyway, but even if you're a crotches out there, and there's some real crabby type people out there, just miserable youths. Yeah. But the thing is, like, me personally, I sleep very well because I try and deal with everybody on a level. I don't business if you're a janitor or if you're the CEO. More time I'm gonna talk to you and deal with you the same way. Right. And the reality is that I'll give you another quick story. I used to be managed by Mark Pitts and Wayne Bear and those guys by Storm. And I went over to the RCA building to go kick it with them. And I saw Tunji. And I said, yo, Virgin, like at the time I was like, yo, pleasure to meet you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have mutual friends, but like I respect what you do, whatever, whatever. And he's like, yo, you don't remember me? I'm like, what's this you talking about? The man said, yo, when Dangerous came out, he said, I was the intern. I was your intern at Interscope Records.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
The man was the intern for man like Tubby, aka Sean Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
He was Tubby's intern. That was my A&R at the time. So this youth eventually went on to become the CEO, and you know we work together right now.
Yeah.
But it's like you got to think about it. Like this is a man who just started, you know what I mean, working for free.
Mm-hmm.
And now
you never punked him off or anything.
And that's what I said to him too. I was like, you know what I mean? He's like, no, man. He's like, yo, you were mad cool. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I never really worry about them things.
Yeah.
I never really have to ask a man if I punked them off, because the only time that I'll punk somebody off is if they try to disrespect.
Yeah.
That's it. But besides that, like, it's always going to be a love energy.
Yeah.
So, nah, man, it's just, you see, another full circle moment in terms of just interpersonal skills and development and learning, like, yo, you know what I mean? Just how to deal with people on a level as a good human.
Mm-hmm.
Those things come back around, and you know what I'm saying? And it helps to re-energize what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm necessarily a karma person per se, but it's karma type practices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So long story short, I wanted to be able to work at the same label that I grew up idolizing. You know, more time in a to idol people or things just based on my belief system.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna front, like, you can use some other synonym, some other language, but I used to idolize Def Jam.
Yes.
I used to see the vinyl and just look at the vinyl and see it spinning around and that iconic logo and you know what I'm saying? Like all of the people them that, like, from LL Cool J, Public Enemy, just so
DMX,
many, Red and Meth, Jay-Z, this, that, whatever. Like, I'm like, yo, I get a chance to work at that legendary thing and you know what I mean? Like, hopefully help them, you know what I mean? Like bring back, you know what I mean, some of the good energy. I'm like, yo, I'm all in. And then it's just a bonus. Then now I get to work with a black man, a young black man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who's a CEO, bro. A young, you know what I mean? Like, you know, he's Nigerian heritage, you know what I'm saying? So I get to work with a young black man who I 1,000%, like, I respect his ear as an A&R. I get to work with him. It was a no-brainer to me. You know what I'm saying? So the reality of the situation is that, you know, behind the scenes, the man them got the business structure right. And I've been rocking out with them, you know, for the last, I think it's 3 years.
I was just about to say, I think 3 years.
Yeah, I think it's 3 years coming up to this summer. So, you know, this industry, bro, you can wake up tomorrow and you're doing something else.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm still there, but it's not probably how you think. My gratitude is that I love working with the people that I work with. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, I'm talking about the artists. So, you know, big up to Massacre, big up to Skip Marley, big up to Susan Carroll, big up to Ione. You know what I'm saying? Did some work on Lavish. You know, all these different folks that
Jello's over there too now. Jello Ball.
Yes. Not I don't A&R Jello.
No, but he's in the building.
Over there. Yeah. Jello's over there. That was something that top of the year when it was like laser hot.
Yeah.
Them man that went in there over the Christmas break and
they got that done.
And they got it done. They got it done. So
yeah.
Shout out to man like Nick and Tunji and them, man.
Yeah, that's a big one right there, man.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I honestly, really and truly just love the work, you know, because it's like loose. But the reality is that, like, I just have so much fun still, like, going into studio, like, you know what I mean? I'm not talking like emailing and thing. I mean, like, when it comes to Massacre, going to Kingston, you know what I mean? Going to studio and we're, you know what I mean, whatever it is we're doing, you know what I mean? Drinking some whites and them on it, whatever, Buntu Spliff and studios go on and or if it's Miami, you know what I mean, to the complete honor of working with the Marley family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And being able to you know, to help craft a sound and a journey for, you know, the great Skip Marley is dope. And, you know, I mean, you know, signing Ione, who's originally from Barbados, who's lived around the world, and, you know, now she resides in LA, but to hear, excuse me, her magic and, you know, her debut album that's, you know, about to come out this year is masterful. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about somebody like a Susan Carroll, who I was working with for years before we got to Def Jam.
Right.
And, you know, I had met her through a DJ initially who had featured her on a song. Oh my gosh, I can't remember my youth's name right now. Yo, my bad. It's gonna pop back into my brain in a second, and I'll big you up. But there was a show up here, and I think it was like a Scratch Bastard barbecue.
Okay, salute.
And hold on, the song is called Magnetic. What's my youth's name? The song is called Magnetic, and he's a DJ producer.
Artist name again?
No, the song is called Magnetic featuring Susan Carroll.
Magnetic.
Yeah.
Susan.
Full Crate, I feel like is his name. If you look up Full Crate, it's probably Full Crate featuring. Yep, see it there?
Yeah, DJ Full Crate.
Yeah. So I met her actually in 2019 maybe. It's crazy that's 6 years ago, bro.
Yeah.
But I guess 2019 is when I was introduced to her music. And it just started by a simple DM of me saying, yo, your voice is insane, crazy. Like, I'd love to do some kind of work with you in some kind of capacity if you're down.
Yeah.
And I remember her, you know, just being just a total sweetheart. And we just built it up slowly. And like, you know, things I was involved with, I'd have her, you know, contribute, you know, get a little check cut for her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like building it up. And yeah, it was just wild how that, like, you know, she was literally like, but, you know, still is, but she was like a ride or die them times. Cause I said to her, I'm like, yo, like, what's your dream? And she's like, yo, like, I want to be able to do stadiums one day. But she's like, yo, I want to do my music and have the gift be the thing that pays the bills. And,
yeah,
you know, I'm not one of them people. I'm not a hype beast. So I'm not, you know, I told her I don't make a promise, but the only promise that I do make is to do my best.
Yes.
Seeing? And I'm like, yo, I want to do my best for you to help you get closer to those dreams. So when I was able to get to Def Jam, when I was able to get to Def Jam, she was the first person that I signed over.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it was just great to see that it, like, literally, and I don't want to feel like it's a disrespect to say like she was nothing, but I mean, to take it from a very small, almost infancy stage, small followers, only a handful of people knowing who she is, and really just being one of her biggest cheerleaders, and, you know, getting her that deal, and then, you know, seeing how it's growing right now. And it's crazy, like, she signed the deal, I'm making it up, in September, and she literally got a Grammy from a collab that she did like 6 months later with PJ Morton. So she's Grammy Award winning before her debut album.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's one of them ones there, like, that's how I know. And it's funny, my mentors keep reminding me, like, they're like, yo, you have the eye, you have the ear.
Yes.
And you gotta, you know what I mean? You can't make nobody, like, don't dim your light for nobody, bro.
So
you know what I mean?
It brings me to another question before I get into back to my list.
Yes.
How do you know when to pull the trigger as far as like DMing somebody, or like, because we get inundated with so much on our timeline.
Yep.
That sometimes we can think that this sounds hot, and then like we never really get until we, like, you know, expand a little bit, and we're like, it wasn't as hot as I thought, or listen to it a little bit longer, right? So like, when do you know when to strike? Like, okay, I need to hit this person up because this is hot. Are you looking at the follower count also, or what are you looking?
Analytics are just a GPS, my bro. You know what I mean? Like when you know where you're going, like if we need to get downtown, we don't need a GPS.
Facts.
But sometimes if you're like, yo, using the tools, it can get us there quicker.
Yes.
And that's how I look at analytics and all the rest of that. There's people that have mad followers that are trash.
Yes.
They're junk. There's people.
I've interviewed a lot of them, trust me.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like for me, and I can just speak for myself. Like my process, bro, is shout out to Theo again, common denominator in a lot of this stuff. But I remember he showed, I didn't even understand really what an A&R's job was supposed to be. Because there are some trash A&Rs, but there are some people that actually have a skill.
Yes.
And it's that, honestly, some people, just like when you're thinking about ball, there's some scouts that can go to a game and say, yeah, that youth right there.
Yeah.
Where everybody's looking at that youth over there because it's the obvious one.
Yeah,
They're like, he's the number one pick. Yeah, anybody could see that. But sometimes people can't say, yo, you see that little MAGA youth named Chris Bosh? That youth is going to be a guy.
Yeah.
And a man might look and say, him? The guy's like 160 pounds, bro. Like, you understand what I'm saying? But there's somebody that said, I think he's gonna be.
Yeah, look at the way he shoots, or look at his court ID, his IQ. I mean,
it's the same kind of thing where, I think that people like myself, there are some people to where we could all be in a room together, and I might say, yo, you don't say that girl. You don't, and so, yo, a lot of times people don't necessarily hear it. Like you can listen. And some man's looking at you like, it's cool, bro.
Yeah.
And then a year later, they come back and they say, bro, how did you hear that on that song? Or, you know what I mean? But I think that's part of the gift too. And you have to understand sometimes, and I even had to understand and know myself, is to know that like that is also a gift.
Yeah.
Is that sometimes you can hear things that people can't necessarily hear, or you can see things that people can't necessarily see.
Yeah.
And I think for me, you know, I've been blessed to work with a lot of people. I pride myself in like saying that I love working with people before the wave. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you see how the cartel train is going, wrong choice of words. The cartel wave is going in right now where there's a resurgence where the man then say, yo, this guy, Kartel, is leading dancehall right now. But I remember when I was in Jamaica and I was filming a TV show called, I think it was called like It's a Party or something like that. It was like their little version of like Electric Circus. Thing there. And we were performing, I don't know, like, was it Barkardi Slang times? Nah, it might have been after that. But anyway, it's like early 2000s. And Bounty Killer linked me because them time, like, you know, me and Bounty used to link and connect regular, and do shows and whatever. And obviously I showed him I was in Jamaica and he's like, yo, I want you to meet, you know, one of my little artists for me I bring up. You know what I'm saying?
One of my little artists.
No, a real thing, bro. A real thing. Nobody didn't know who he was. So he said, yo. So I was there and he's like, yo, I'm gonna send, you know, one of my soldiers and connect you guys. So I remember I said, yo, Killer tell me if you come link you. He said, yo, see the artists are around the corner. You know what I'm saying? And this is and again, listen, I don't want people to clip this up and take it the wrong way. This is not a diss at all. This is what I'm saying. This is a real life thing. This is at a time when people did not know who Kartel was. So I remember I met him at the show. He came and linked me. You know what I mean? And I said, yo, you know, good to meet you. Killer said, you know what I mean? We should link and all the rest of that. He said, yeah, man. And that day, I'm pretty sure it was Don Corleone's studio that we went to. But anyway, that same night, we ended up going to studio. And if you look back, this is, you know how people are, everybody's a Fat Joe just liar. Everybody's a Fat Joe with his stories are just liar. People are gonna say, yo, this is a liar thing. But,
nah, bro, I believe you.
But here's the thing. You can go back, look at Kartel's first album and look on the CD case, or you can look it up online or wherever it is. There's a song called, the title of the song is called Kartel and Cardinal. It's there. You know what I mean? Like the proof is right there. The tune is, you don't even have to look too deep. It's literally called Kartel and Cardinal. That's the first song, and it's on it, you know, and it's on his album. So, you know, between me, Kartel, Mr. Morgan, them, you know what I mean? Them early times, like, you know, that whole crew, you know what I mean? Wayne Marshall, all those guys, like, you know, that was family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you look at my 2005 album, me and Kartel have a song called Everybody Gone Gangster. And that is one of the wickedest. Virgin, I suggest that you pull it up, if I'm being honest. This might be one that you pull up and you play. It's worth it, General. It's called EGG, Everybody Gone Gangster. You know what I'm saying?
Let me check this out here.
You have to check that out, bro. Because I'll tell you, in all the collabs that I have done, I never feel like anybody got me to where I'm like, yo, the man might have murdered you on a tune, but you see, okay, it's on this album.
Okay.
See it there? That's the one right there.
EGG. Hold on. Yeah. YouTube audience, we'll be right back because the listening audience will get this, but the YouTube audience, you all can't get all of this.
Hold on, just no. Go to the beginning. Go to the very beginning of the tune, from the intro.
So they said Cardinal with the one that test his skill. Pussy can't move it. We shoot like a video.
Or a movie.
Crazy.
Blood Jacuzzi, Beretta, Calico, Uzi, make big man a scream like Susie. Yo. Jesus Christ.
So wait a minute. This was like,
and that's already, and that's basically Kartel rapping. If you really pre it.
Yes, and he was already at this point a known. He wasn't the world boss at this point, but he was already known at this point.
Yeah.
So you have a
the
feature.
Ascension was there.
Yeah, so you have a feature with him in the early stages, and here. Okay, so coming full circle to like even noticing talent back then when Bounty introduced you to him, right?
Yeah.
And you guys had the first studio session. Could you foresee him becoming the world boss?
No. And it's not because he wasn't dope, but you have to understand, like, at them times, you still have, like, them is the times of, like, when we first linked, like, them is the times of, like, B.A.B. Sham, Spraga Benz, Beanie Man, you know what I mean? Like, the whole alliance, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was a time to where, like, just after that, I would say, is when he like them time there is when he started to like when he really found that next level insane cadence and them thing there. Yeah, that's when you're like, oh, you know, like for me, this was the first time that I was like, oh, he's not regular. He is not normal at all. Like this guy is next. Like how the man reach on the tune and almost smoked me on my own tune.
Yeah, you spitting bars.
My whole crew to this day, when that thing come on, you can lock off his verse. We are rapping his verse word for word. I tell people this is one of my favorite Kartel verses that the most of the world never got to hear.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Insanity. But throughout my career, bro, like I love that I got to work with people early on in their career. You know what I'm saying? It was the same thing for T-Pain, the same thing for Rihanna, for Sean Kingston, for Lady Gaga, for like
Sean
if you look
Paul.
at Sean Paul.
You guys are on Money Jane together. Like.
And Virgin, you know, like I say, shout out to Kid Cudi and Baby Blue. Money Jane was finished, you know.
Discover Cans, where quality meets innovation. With over 24 premium strains, each carefully sealed in our signature cans for maximum freshness. We're redefining the cannabis experience. Trusted Canada-wide for consistency and reliability. We deliver the product you deserve. Elevate your expectations and explore the difference with Cans. You can find Cans on Instagram at @Cans_Canada, or you can find them on the Diamond Club page, Diamond Club_Ontario. Make sure to use the code WeLoveHipHop on the way out and get yourself a little discount. Salute to the sponsors. Cheer!
The tune was done.
Yeah.
And them man that wanted it for their compilation or whatever. Cool. And Kid Cudi said, yo, we're going to Jamaica. We're going to put a feature on this.
Okay.
I said, word. And when the man came back, the man came to the studio and said, yo, hear this. And he played it. I said, oh, shit. You know what I mean? So basically, he gave me the verses, but then I arranged the verses on the song. You know what I mean? Just created the structure of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was from them early time there because, not gonna lie, the first time I heard Sean Paul, I remember we were shout out to Mayday. Me and Mayday were in Brooklyn. And them times we used to drive back and forth to New York. And before we drove back, we're like, yo, let's go to Flatbush and get some mixtapes.
Yes.
So I remember we got some dancehall mixtapes, and I think around the time the bookshelf rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And Bridget, we thought it was Supercat. We're like, yo, Supercat sounds sick.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's Sean
It's
Paul.
Sean Paul.
You know what I'm saying? So when Kid Cut went to Jamaica and came back with the Sean Paul feature, I was like, yo, this is that same youth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And yeah, honestly, like we did Money Jane, and you know, for our country here, like it was a legendary tune.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they played it on crossover radio here, all over Much Music.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Sean came up a lot of times for shows and all the award shows, all of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was definitely, you know, early on, you know, working with Sean Paul, early on working with Estelle, early Glenn Lewis. Like a lot of these people, bro, it's I rarely do joints with people like after they already like the world has caught on. Only because it's like I think the excitement is in the build.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when people are figuring it out and that energy is new and raw. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's usually when the best collaborations happen. Even if you look at the Clipse, you know what I'm saying? Like
Grindin'
was
the
still,
remix.
like, yo, that, you know what I mean? Like that was still like super early 2000s.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That's their second album technically, but that was their first public album.
Yes.
And at the end of the album, they had like 2 remixes, and I think you were on the first remix that came on.
Absolutely. Mine's the only remix that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to Nori. You don't know that more time, me and Sean Paul dust out you and Lil Wayne's remix. That's all. Nobody don't draw for that in the dance, Nori. I'm just putting it out there. More time. They're still, people still to this day, they just keep holding me. You understand? Like,
no, that was a big tune.
Great times.
So I feel like that eye for being able to identify talent early is something that also helps you with your other job that you have, because you're finding talent for Canada on Canada's Got Talent. You're helping to find talent. See that transition right there?
Yeah, I like it. But that's a whole different beast though, because they have a whole set of producers and people that actually find the talent.
Yes.
Same time that you guys see the talent at home, same time we see them.
Right.
Like we don't see them beforehand. Like we're sitting at the desk just like this, my bro. And then the man come out on stage. Loose on that, on the coming out on stage. But, you know, the people forward, and the same time that the people at home see them is the same time that we're seeing them.
Let me ask you something, because I'm watching this.
Yes.
I know you from time now.
Yeah.
You know, you're a man that's moved around and done a lot of big things. But like, I still feel like when I'm watching you on TV, and maybe you might feel this way, do you have an outer body experience sometimes? Like, the fuck am I doing sitting here? Like, I'm on TV, like, it's like, yo, you get the golden ticket or whatever. Like,
the golden buzzer, yes.
Yeah, like, I feel like I'm not watching Cardinal, but I'm watching Cardinal, fam. Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah. You know what? The very first season, when it was me, Trish Stratus. First of all, bro, I'm sitting beside
This is what I'm saying,
Trish Stratus.
fam.
Even though the two of us came from Flemo.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Trish was in Flemo.
I didn't know that till now.
but she's Greek, so it makes sense. Anybody that comes from Flemo know that we have a whole heap of Greek people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I was in Flemo until I was, I think, like 12, 13 or whatever. So I found out that Trish came from Flemo too. But the reality is, I found that out later. I'm like, yo, this is a WWE legend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, Lily and Howie. And that first season, we had one afternoon of training, and then they're like, yeah, we're doing our first episode tonight. I'm like, tonight? We just learned the things.
Yeah.
They're just like, figure it out. And we, like, so for me, sitting there in front of the whole country in that kind of capacity, bro, like, you got to think about, like, this transcends hip-hop.
Yes.
Like, hip-hop is what got me there, but at the end of the day, like, I'll tell you what's so ill and what's so super blessed, bro. I did a fundraiser for this hospital downtown on Saturday, and I met this little youth. He couldn't have been no more than 4 years. And he was just like, his mom was like, this guy never never loved any show. He's like, he watched every single episode you guys ever did.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, he loves watching you on Canada's Got Talent.
Mhm.
And it's like, so it's from the babies them, from, 3-4 years old or whatever, to people that are 93 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out.
People who are not going to be into any rap.
Bro. And so that's one part of it. You understand? But the second part is that, you sit there and you're like, yo, when it hit me is when you look up and you see the very permanent thing in lights that says Cardinal. It says Howie, Shania, Catherine, and it says, and you look and it says Cardinal. And like when you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a TV show and you're looking up at that, you're like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like you've always seen, like, you see the Simon Cowells, you see, you know what I mean? All them types. And I'm like, yo, like when Simon Cowell, was it that first season? It was either the first or the second season when Simon Cowell himself came down.
Yeah, he did a guest appearance. Yeah.
And bro, and I'm sitting beside this man and he's just talking to me nice and easy. He used to be an A&R.
Yeah.
Simon Cowell used to be an A&R. So he's talking to me, yo, how's everything going in that Def Jam or whatever? And I'm like, yo, this is different.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, them time there is when you just feel blessed, because it is an outer body experience to where you're like, yo, this don't feel normal. But then again, when you say your prayers them and God puts the things within grasp and within your reach, you also have to accept it and know and say, yo, what God has for you, nobody can take away from you.
You're there, bro. So you're supposed to be there.
You see it.
But the reason I'm asking you that is because, like, from where you came from, it's like, obviously you're there, you're supposed to be there, but it's just like, yo.
It's wild, bro.
This is television, yo.
Bro, listen to me. 35 St. Denis Drive, apartment 527, with the roach egg in the Rice Krispies. You understand what I'm saying? Like, nighttime, flick on light and see roach scatter.
Yeah.
That's where I came from.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? My phone number was 424-6441 was my phone number.
Before you had to put the area codes in front. That's crazy.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's where I'm across the street from the resort center.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the mans that I grew up with. Anybody from, you know what I mean? Shane Bosco, Kirky, the Egby, you know what I mean? Kevin Mahoney, all the man, you know what I mean? All the mans that I grew up with in Flemo as little youths. You know what I mean? To see where we could reach. And I say we because it's like, when I say I'm nobody special, meaning that I was just one of the youths them from the area. It's not like I was somebody to where everybody's like, oh, that guy's gonna be. No way.
Yeah.
No way. Like, I was a youth to where, like, both my parents had blue collar jobs, bro. Clearly, I'm in the buildings. And, it's a thing to where, like, sometimes when I had a growth spurt, mans didn't have enough money, like our family, for me to get like a new jean. So I'm with some floods. I'm with some high waters going to school because they're like, yo, unless the seam can't let out, it gusts off for the next.
Yeah.
That's where I came from. So to be able to now sit down and see my name, you know what I mean, in lights and like you said, see it on bus shelters, side of the bus, billboards. So sometimes, bro, I go to visit family members and, you go into like the condo or the apartment and they have now the digital screens inside there. And I might just be in there with total strangers seeing, and all of a sudden it flashes to a thing that says CGT this season. And a man's doing this. Hold on. This the youth?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a blessing, bro.
Bro, I found out not through Instagram or whatever, or from knowing, like, from following your journey.
Yeah.
I found it from watching CP24. I said, wait a minute, a lie. Cardinal's on the show too? Sick.
Crazy.
No, that's dope. That's dope.
It's blessed.
There's something that you mentioned a few months ago.
Okay.
Or maybe it was last year. I don't remember exactly where it was. It was online somewhere, and you were talking about Dangerous catching a second wind.
Yeah.
Through TikTok. Can you talk to us over here at We Love Hip Hop about that? Because I think that's crazy how that happens, bro.
I want to take a quick break from this episode to give a big shout out to Only Loud. Canada's one-stop shop for your favorite legacy brands and all things Loud. Only Loud provides mail order delivery nationwide and same-day delivery to those in the Ottawa area. Check them out at onlyloud.ca or follow them on their socials, Instagram at onlyloudcanada or on Snapchat onlyloud.ca for more exclusive content. Only Loud is not just a product, it's a lifestyle. Big salute to the sponsors. Cheer.
I'll be honest. I was still, the first time it happened, I was still at Universal Canada because one of the girls that worked in the digital department said, "Yo, Dangerous is about to go crazy," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Yo, watch from tomorrow." They're like, "Yo, it's about to go insane." I said, "Why?" They said, "Right now, the girl that had the most followers on TikTok, can't remember her name, no disrespect, but the girl that had the most followers on TikTok, they're like, yo, she just posted Dangerous in a thing on TikTok," and they're like, it's gonna go crazy. Now me, I'm like, whatever. Like it just sounds like whatever to me. But bro, all of a sudden, it like if it was a graph, it just went like this.
Bro.
And it came in like it was a brand new song again, bro. All of a sudden, we're charting on all these global charts. The song is just, you know what I mean? The song is going insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this is nuts. And then it's like, you know how the royalties situation go. It's like you wait like 9 months, and then the royalties from them time that's when they show up. Like 9 months later, 6 to 9 months later. It depends on your things. But anyway, it doesn't matter. And I just remember the royalties. And I remember I called my management at the time. I said, bro, I think there's a mistake. I said, I think there's a mistake, bro. The man said, hold on, let me make a call. I said, nah, bro, it's not a mistake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was the first time. And the thing is, it happened with Dangerous like 2 or 3 times in the last 3 or 4 years. And
so one of those times when you were talking about it online, and forgive me, I don't remember exactly where.
Yeah.
That was just only one time that it got a resurgence.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Listen, that's the thing when it comes to legacy artists. If you've ever had a big tune, you like that. It happened to Nelly Furtado. You know what I'm saying? It happens to a lot of people to where these youths them are rediscovering music from our generation, and to them it's like brand new.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you probably seen what happened the other day, and it's a real thing when Akon went on the radar. The youths them in the comments are like, yo, this guy's sick. He's on his way. The youths them are like, yo, this guy, he might be the next one.
He might be the
Akon,
next one.
you know. This is a few months ago.
That's a new sound right there.
You know what I'm saying? So the reality is that, like, with this new generation, all the tools that they have and discovering music, sometimes what's happening is, you know, it happened with the youth from Fleetwood Mac. Remember my youth with the Cranberry, the Ocean Spray, and he was on the skateboard. You remember that?
Oh,
you remember that?
Dog something his name is.
Yes.
Yeah. The Mexican guy.
That's right. That's right. So it's a thing to where, like, this is a reality, bro. And not to get too technical, but I think it's good for like your viewers and your listeners to understand.
Yeah,
also,
for sure.
Is that even for me, when you go to the analytics and thing, and you see what I go on with me and my listeners or whatever, bro, primarily my listeners are still between the age of 18 and 35.
Really?
That's the majority of my listening audience. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, it skews younger and older, but the majority of the people listening to me is 18 to 35. So it's like a lot of times I meet people that's like, yo, I was in grade 8 graduation when Dangerous came out. Oh my gosh. I remember, like, anytime that song comes, like, it brings them to that place.
Yeah.
But then there's some new youths right now where they're saying to their mom, this is my favorite song. And their parents are like, what are you talking about? Like,
I've been
what do you know
this,
about this? They're like, yo, this is my tune.
Yeah.
But how blessed is that, though, bro?
Why do you think that happens? Is it because, this is a good, like the way the hook goes or different parts of the song, I can use this for my video, for my sound, you know what I'm saying? I can do my little dance to it. Like, what is it that you think that starts connecting these youths with the older music that was from back in, like, this? Remember, Dangerous dropped in like 08 or something, like before that. What am I saying?
No, it's like 08, 09.
Right.
Somewhere around there. Because last year, I feel like last year was the 15. I think this is the 16 year, Sweet 16 for Dangerous. But you know what it is, and I don't want to just speak to Dangerous alone, but just tunes in general, bro.
Yeah. Tunes from that time.
We can, but not even that time. Even if you look at like Michael Jackson, if you look at Stevie Wonder, if you look at Aretha Franklin, if you look at Alicia Keys, if you look at, you know, all of our favorites, bro, good music is good music and it stands the test of time.
Yes.
Bro, you already know there's some big tunes from when we were coming up that we will never hear ever again.
Yeah.
Ever. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they might have a place in our heart, in our, like, we're like, yo, you remember them time that we used to, oh man, like, listen to whomever, but let me put it like this, and I guess I didn't really understand it until it happened to me. When Dangerous came out, I remember getting some calls from some of my heroes in the game, people that I grew up with, like saying, yo, this guy, that's the man. Like, this is such and such, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember I used to be with the man them because we were on the road crazy them times, like barely ever home. But I used to see my phone ring off, and I'm like, yo, what, go on? Like, these are people trying to link them and they're not calling back nobody.
Right.
Even if you have the number. These are people like, these people are linking my phone when Dangerous is going and crazy. And I'm saying, I don't understand. Yo, Bridget, and I remember, I think it might have been Busta. It was either, and I swear to you, I'm not trying to name drop. It's the blessing of who I got to work with and who I got to, certain times you spend some time with people.
Bro, this is your life. It's not name dropping, bro.
But what I'm saying is, it's like this internet thing, like, honestly, bro, especially as a loose talk, but as a big man right now, fam, it's like me, I've gotten to a place in my life to where it's just like, how I live my life, what I do. Like, I have a wife, kids, mortgage. Like, we've lapped the world 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times.
Yeah.
So it's like, at this point in time, I just hope my story can either inspire or educate people from where we come from, but then just people in general.
Yeah.
Because we can't keep that local mentality. Because sometimes people where we're from is like, yo, this guy's a pussy, he's from rare. But then they might go visit their cousin in fucking London, and a man's like, are you crazy, fam? This guy's from your city. This guy's a G.
Yeah, we bump him all the time.
Yeah. Or they might go yard, or they might go here or where. Like, at this point in time, like, what I love is there was a time, I'm not gonna lie, there was a time in the career where it's like a gray area of weird hate, of niggas that never got on, that used to point outwards to say it's his fault.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. Instead of pointing inwards to say, you know what, maybe I could have done something different or whatever. Because I'm a youth that never went out nowhere and bad mind nobody. Even if I know you're a pussy all and more time, I know you were bad minding me. I'm a youth that's never gonna bad mind anybody in public or whatever. You understand? Because at the end of the day, I think there's a place for growth and for redemption. And people who I never even used to, like, quietly, we never used to get along. It's a time to where, like, some of these people are like some of the people that I love the most now. Because there's time where people evolve and they're like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, fam, I was a meathead back then time. Like, I was on some dumb shit.
Me too.
But you know what I mean? You grow older and you're like, fam, I wish more time like we would have linked back them time there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also feel like it's God's timing for everything, though. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's always opportunities to connect and link up. But anyways, I say all that to say, going back to the story, is I remember, Busta, who is like, he's like my big brother at this point in time, like family. The man linked me, and I think Jay and some other people during that time, and they're like, yo, you have to understand, some people go their entire career and they never get one of them one. You understand? Like, some people have amazing careers, but them not have, like, think about Pharaoh Monch, how he has pom, 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 pom.
Yeah.
Get the fuck, you understand?
Yeah.
Like, he had that one. If you think about, I remember one of the most eye-opening things was I remember when Dangerous went #1 in how much countries and yada yada. And I remember I was talking to Jay them time there. And
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, yes. To me, there's only one man you can call Jay.
Yeah.
But I remember he used to like low-key, nothing like formal or whatever, but he was always a man that would like just at the time just drop a little 1-2 gems. You know what I mean? And he was like, yo, bro, my first #1 record that I had was the New York tune with Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to sit down and say, hold on. This man came out in 1996 and you're telling me that's your first #1, bro? You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of times because of just like, yo, we live in such a clout chasing, stupid, hype beast time right now, bro, to where everything is skewed. Anybody could say anything. I could come on here and just say anything and people just believe whatever it is that I said. But the reality is that like for those people that actually care about learning the business, the industry, and I'm not talking about becoming friends with these niggas either, but I'm talking about just learning. Like if you want to be in the game, you got to learn how to play the game. You can't bust out a chessboard and just take the pieces and just start moving the pieces.
Yeah, you got to learn.
You have to understand how the pawns then move.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand which way the rook can move. You understand what I'm saying? You start moving the rook crazy, people are going to say, yo, nah, like, get this guy out of here. He doesn't know what he's doing. And I think it's the same in the hip-hop game, but not just hip-hop, but in music. And not just music, but now that I'm also involved in TV and film and things like that, is in the entertainment industry. You got to take the time to really learn the thing and to have a proper team around you that can help educate you, help insulate you, you know what I'm saying, so that they can protect you. You know, you got to have all these things in place so that you can reach that next level. I can't tell you the amount of people that I used to run into on the street all the time. That's like, yo, fam, put me on. And I'm like, yo, it don't work like that.
Put you on. What do you do?
Well, even when they do a thing, it's like gift alone is not gonna do it.
Yeah.
You have the ill raps. You can't just be the nicest rapper, but then nobody don't want to deal with you because you're a hothead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't be somebody to where you're like, yo, you want a deal or you want this or that, but then it's like you can't travel. You can't move. You know what I'm saying? Or because of your past, sometimes, you know what I mean, it makes it difficult for your future. You know what I mean? There's just so many pieces when it comes to this game. And, and you know, my journey is gonna be different from a next man's journey, and yours is gonna be different from a next man's journey. You understand what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you're sitting in this seat and we're having this conversation because of the things that you did along the way that allowed for you to have people that watch you, people that listen to you for whatever reason it is, people that respect you, or even for people that just know, like, yo, I got to tune in because I know that I'm going to find out or I'm going to hear about or he's going to talk about. You understand?
Yeah.
But again, this is you on your journey being conscious, knowing, all right, this is my strength. This is what I love to do. This is what I'm passionate about. Let me continue to do it. I'm going to make mistakes along the way. But again, I was just having, shout out to my boy Jamal in Miami. Me and my boy Jamal were talking this morning, and the thing is like, there's no such thing as a loss. None. You don't lose in life. It's wins and lessons. That's it.
Yes.
Anything that didn't go your way, it's two things. It's either you learn something or it's God's protection. You understand what I'm saying? God didn't want you to deal with that thing.
I need to write that down. Wins and lessons.
Yeah, man. For sure.
Let me ask you about a song here. I have a few more questions before we close out here.
Okay, cool.
But there was a song that I was talking about the other day. I actually put it in a small documentary piece when I was talking about Toronto slang. Why did you make Barkardi Slang? Like, I feel like it wasn't just like, oh, I'm good at rapping and I want to let you hear like what we talk about. Like, I feel like there was a intention behind it.
I always grew up hearing everybody else talk about everywhere else. You know what I mean? One of my favorite rappers growing up was MC Lyte. And she had this song, kick this one for Brooklyn, bam, bam. Kick this one for the 90s, bam, bam, bam. Now kick this one here for me and my DJ. Ba-da-ba-da. Like, I grew up hearing that. I grew up, hearing Ice-T with Colors talking about South Central.
South Bronx.
You know what I mean? South Bronx. The South Bronx. The Bridge was one of my favorite joints. until bridge is over, but that's story for another day.
Yeah.
But I always heard, MCs, doesn't matter, like 3 times dope from Philly, you know what I'm saying? Like all these different people that bigged up their either their neighborhood, their city, their state. You know what I'm saying? Like I came up with that. And I'm always like, yo, I would love to be able to do that from where we come from. Because them time there, people, I love it that this generation growing up, it's the same way that like how we grew up not thinking that Obama and seeing a black president was ever going to be something we'd see in our life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when we're black president. Nah. I remember, Bridget, I remember the first time I heard about him, I said, what's this man's name? Who? Barack Hussein Obama? I said, they're never going to vote in a man whose middle name is Hussein.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we now know that it's possible. We also grew up in a time to where we didn't ever think that Toronto would be leading the charge.
Yeah.
We grew up in a time where we didn't think that it was a possibility.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even after I got my deal, I spent damn near from the year 2000 to like 2008 traveling the world telling people about Toronto. People making fun of us. Yeah, but look at the Raptors with that big dumb dinosaur on your jersey.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, one day you guys are going to eat your words because the Raptors are going to come for you guys one day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Loose talk on the come for you. I just come from a time where it's like that Toronto pride. We had it as people from the city, but it's like you already know what it was during our era. There were some people that used to pretend like they were from New York.
Yes.
There's some people.
Thank you.
There are some people. No, that's just what it was for us growing up. There were some people where I'm like, where does youth accent come from?
No, it wasn't some. It was a lot of us.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Caravana time too. Like, we know what it is, Caravana, Young Street. Like, yo, a lot of you guys, honestly, the vibes, we should have spent some more time on that, because people don't understand how ill of a city Toronto was.
Yes.
Toronto, Caravana Friday, the Young Street Lime, from as far down Young Street as you can think to like way up past Bloor Street. Ram. Everybody,
everything.
Cars, girls, music, you know what I'm saying? Just people from every area. People from New York, people from Detroit, people from people used to come from all over the world. And you know what I'm saying? It was just the wickedest energy, bro.
Yeah.
The wickedest energy. You understand what I'm saying? People say all the time, like, yo, why you not, like, there was a time I did buy, not buy, but I used to rent a brownstone and I lived in New York for like, back and forth between here and New York for like a year and a half, 2 years. But people are always like, yo, why you never moved? And I'm like, if you understood the energy of the city at that time, why would I move?
Yeah.
There's no place sicker than Toronto them times.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, as a person that traveled the world, you could ask any artist, any DJ, everybody loved coming to the city them times because there's no energy like it anywhere. And I say all that to say, part of the culture for some people was like when it was Caravana time, like all of a sudden you hear a man with accents and this and that. And,
I'm from Brooklyn, yo.
You know what I mean? Using random slang. I'm like, fam, what do you do? But that, it was just, you know what I mean? Like, listen, London went through a similar thing.
Yeah.
To where there was a time where like some London rappers used to like shed their accent to try and make it more Americanized. But then them man, they were like, yo, bun that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, then they just stuck to their hardcore, you know what I mean? Depending on where in London. Because the thing is, we think that all UK people sound the same, but if you're in London, if you're in Liverpool, if you're here, it's different slang, different accents, you know what I'm saying? But I say all that to say, my bro, like, the energy of the city and what was going on in them time there. And I knew, like, the block holes, Bridging, like, people are not going to know about, Bridging, you're going to, on Eglinton and they're just locking off a parking lot, stringing up a sound. And, you know what I mean? Steenie's playing, Black Reactions playing, Red Flame, DJ X Master. You understand what I'm saying? Like, block parties around the city, G. Ross, Lord Park, you know what I'm saying? To where, like, thousands of people are gathering in the park. Like, that energy in that era, honestly, it just makes me smile because we had so many good times. Bro.
Yeah.
We had so many good times, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that was some classic
The energy
times,
was alive in the city, and it was ours. You came here and you didn't get an experience like you're gonna get if you go Jamaica, Queens. You're not gonna get that experience, you know what I'm saying, when you go Fort Lauderdale, when you go LA. Like it was ours. It was unique, and only we had it. So it was with that spirit that I wrote Barkardi Slang.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like most of the things within that song, you know, if you're running out of liquor, the bar might get wet. Like all these things, all these things, the slang, the vibes, the energy, that was all real life things that were happening at the time. And, you know, shout out to man like Solitaire because he didn't have to give me that rhythm. You know what I mean? Like I tell the infamous story, we were on our way, and if you know Toronto them times, you know the vibes. We were in the car, we were driving to Buffalo to go shopping, you know what I mean? Because obviously it was cheaper over there. And the man had a rhythm tape, had a beat tape, and he was playing a bunch of rhythms, and the Barkardi Slang rhythm came on. And I said, what the Ross is? Yo, Bridget, U-turn. We gone back. Studio straight away.
Yeah.
Straight away. And it just gave me the vibes. And then I remember like it just started as an idea, like, yo, we don't say, you know what I'm saying? T-Dot says you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't say, hey, that's the brakes. You say, yo, I saw it
go.
go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the whole song just flowed. You know what I mean? And then for the hook, I just wanted to have a fun. So, you know, Cardi around in the party and T-Dot, JK, Barkardi. That's like some old nursery rhyme shit that I flipped. But then I said at the end, and everybody knows it's the T-Dot. And I think for me, I was like, oh my God, this is it, bro. This is the one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, it was just, I remember calling, you know, shout out to Figure 4. I remember calling Saul G and Morgan them, and I say, yo, this is it.
You got one.
It's Barkardi Slang, but not even like that. Something that represented me, something that represented us, where we came from, you know what I mean? And it was a magical time, bro. Listen, when Barkardi Slang came out, and again, we were on the road and going everywhere and doing all the things. And them time they're like, we're still just, even though I got signed big label deal and all the rest of that, them time they're like, they're still punking us off. We're still staying in smaller rooms. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and the reality is, I remember one day I'm in the room and I get a call from DJ Khaled. And Khaled said, yo, Cardi. I said, what's up? He said, yo, I got Rodney Price on the phone. I'm saying to myself, I said, what? I said, who? I said, who? Rodney Price, what are you talking about? And I just hear a man say, Ute, Cardinal. And I'm like, I'm like, you know what I mean? And Killer said, yo. He said, Ute, I like what you're representing in the song, bringing together like Toronto and Jamaica slang and bringing the culture together. He's like, yo, I want to, you know what I mean? I want to get on the remix. And sure enough, I think, to be honest, he might have been touring same time because it was like maybe a week later, if that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He came to studio. I feel like it was him and Richie Stevens that was in the studio that reached. But like, you know what I mean? We did Barkardi Slang remix that time. And I was just like, them times, Bounty Killer was the undisputed number one guy.
Yes.
In dancehall.
Yes.
Undisputed. I mean, maybe if you're a Beanie Man fan, there's argument, but he was the number one.
Yeah.
And them time that he was like, yo, he got on the Barkardi Slang remix, and yo, bro, like the first time that I ever performed in Jamaica was way out in a dance stage show in St. Mary. You know what I'm saying? And it was me, Bounty Killer, Wayne Marshall was there. That time, Tony Mataran was still his DJ. You know what I mean? And just to, them time there, you have to understand, I'm performing and I'm just like, I'm in a next world. Them time there, shout out to like, to JD's on Eglinton, because I remember we did that show, and it's like, just the things that happened them time that just don't happen now. But like,
Mhm.
I remember, to me, I'm like, yo, I made it. Because I remember going back to JD's and them and they say, yo, you're up on the cassette, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, them time you used to go to JD's and you could get like whatever stage show, whatever dance was happening in Jamaica or the Reach on Eglinton.
Mhm.
And the man they say, yo, you know what I mean? Yo. And I remember that specific show, I remember we were there in Jamaica. There was like 20 of us. Like, there was like 20, 23 of us. A lot of us were there. And I remember some of the girls that were shook. I said, what happened? They're like, yo, when you did Barkardi Slang with Bounty, pipe, pop, pop, pop,
Bear
pop,
gunshot.
pop, pop, pop. And I'm on stage, so I'm not really, I can't hear it or I can't even take it in. Them and them are like, gunshot was beaten in the sky.
That's crazy.
And then the following week, there used to be this big party in the stadium called Delano's Revenge. You know, shout out to Delano, I know a Renaissance crew. And it's like, I remember Bounty Killer in front of that massive Kingston crowd invited me to perform Barkardi Slang. You know what I mean? I think the footage might be out there somewhere, but you know, the man said, yo, he's of Jamaican what did he say? He's of Jamaican parentage, so we own a percentage. Hello, yellow. And I'm like, pop. And I say, yo, like them time there. So all them energies, my bro, that's why I wrote Barkardi Slang. That's where Barkardi Slang came from, because it was important. We needed somebody to represent. And of course, I have to say, shout out to K-Force, who was the inventor of T.O. For people that don't know. You know, that came from a man like K-Force. We happened to be outside of the studio when he was doing a tune at the time. And at the end, you know what I mean, at the end of the tune, the man signed off, you know what I mean, live from the T.O.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's where we got that from, you know?
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me just fix this one. Okay, last couple questions I have for you here, man.
Yeah, man.
Because as somebody who's a veteran in the scene, you've gotten to work in front of the scenes, behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You got to see our Toronto music scene from even working at the labels for Canada, right?
Yes.
Has our rap scene self-destructed, or are we in a good place? And you know what I mean by self-destructed? Because we were here. And I feel like now we kind of like, maybe not bottomed out, but we're kind of like evening out, plateauing maybe.
Yeah. You know what? All right, let me be very specific.
Yes.
I think our scene, I think our city is vibrant and full of some of the illest creatives in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have some of the dopest writers, producers, rappers, singers. We have some of the directors. Shout out to Marcus Letts, who directed the video for Let 'Em Out.
Mm-hmm.
Just an insane up and coming director. You know what I'm saying? I think we have some of the best talent in the world still.
Yes.
I think if we talk about a scene though, you see that energy that me and you, like how we were thinking about them time there, and how we felt like it was a positive energy. It was like, even though I'm not saying it was all like, it wasn't a cakewalk, like things were dangerous them time there. You know what I mean? Violence, things like that, it always has happened within the city. And them times was before the internet. So it could possibly have even been worse because we just didn't see it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like how that's a story for another time. But I just feel like as a scene, it became difficult to sustain because of the violence and because of a lot of the. Here's what I'll say, because I came up at a time when there was like There's real niggas from Finch. There's real niggas from Rex. Real niggas from Flemo. Real niggas from Region. From Gap. From every area.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what it was though? The man them that did music actually wanted to be dope at music.
Yes.
Real gangster niggas, but at the same time they were nice. They were nice. They had skills because to them the music wasn't secondary. It wasn't a joke thing. If they were gonna put down the street activities, it's because they're like, yo, I really feel I'm the nicest on the mic.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't just a lick.
Nah. And it wasn't just it wasn't a clout thing.
Yeah.
Because the other reality is that a lot of these guys, like Toronto used to be a place also when it doesn't matter if you're from a next area. If a man says, yo, you know my youth from this area, you say, yeah, because it's a real youth.
Mm-hmm.
But there were codes, there were ways that the streets operate. There was a certain thing. And listen, let me not tell you this like, say, more time I was some Don. I was a square. But I was also a square that more time like I knew myself. So I never was trying to be something that I wasn't.
Yes.
So I used to know enough different minds from around the place, but it was a mutual respect because I never stepped out of character to try and be something that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because my OGs raised me. And my OGs enough times said, are you crazy, bro? Yo, listen, yo. I'd rather you take some bread, go studio, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, and shout out to, I can give you direct people, man like Junior, man like Scarface, a.k.a. Damien, different people along the way that were like, yo, the street shit is not for you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Niggas that literally like, they used to see me, bro, I was too lazy to do the final lifeguard test. Cause bro, if you know about being a lifeguard at a pool, bro, it's hectic.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I was right underneath lifeguard status. So again, just like this used to come to the center. And if you wanted to go swimming, I'm the youth that used to be at the pool. You understand what I'm saying? So that if a lifeguard say, yo, I gotta go use the washroom, I need you to step in for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was me. But I used to be there with my my rhyme book. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, bro. Them times I'm like, I'm earning $8 an hour if I'm lucky. I look at $9 an hour. But I'm saving up to go studio. But yo, sometimes the man them used to check me and they used to say, yo, let's hold this.
Yeah.
Go studio. You know what I'm saying? And those man them, honestly, they looked out for me, bro. And when I look back, like they could have been on the fuckery to try and draw me in. But them man they say, nah, bro. You crazy? Like, this is your thing, bro. Like, yo, you do the music thing. You know, even sometimes, like, the man that, like, would even just chip off of you some bread just to come perform at little shows in the area, or like the man that are gonna throw a little dance, come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a thing to where I say all that to say that, like, it's difficult now, bro, because music is not number one on the agenda. So it's tough to have a ill musical scene when music is not the first thing you're defending.
Yeah.
When you're using music as a tool for destruction, then you're going to destroy everything.
Bars.
No, but that's a serious thing. Like, if you're using music as a tool for destruction, then when you destroy everything,
Bro, that's so profound what you just said there, because it's most of these people, like, I cover the stories. The only reason I'm covering them is not because it's Ray from Finch or whatever. I don't know Ray from Finch. He doesn't make music.
No, but hear what though? The thing is, like, and I don't want for people to feel no type of way, because again, I come from that too. You understand what I'm saying? I come from that too. So it's like I could never diss them, man, because it's like dissing my people.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, there were people, and it's not a thing to where, like, if you know me, you know my story. I never really glorified a lot of things, and I kept a lot of things quiet because I don't think it's important in context of who I am and where I'm going. But the reality is, like, there's a lot of different street youths that were very key to us being able to do things. You know what I mean? When it came to the circle, like, you know what I mean? There was mans them from, you know what I mean, from different neighborhoods that believed in us. And they used to school us and mentor us and help us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I could never diss the streets or you know what I'm saying, or diss anything like that because I'm not above it. I came from it.
Yes.
I happen to be blessed to be able to, God covered me and I rised from it, but there's not everybody that had the opportunities and was able to make it out. I really feel, and this is a bigger conversation, a lot of times, bro, the funding that they have in this city, if it went back to the neighborhoods, if it went back to the community centers, to music programs, to sports programs, that's going to done off a lot of this stuff. Because the reality is that the kids don't have the programs to go to. So if all you know is like, if after school is done, there's nowhere for you to go, where are you going? You're just parring on the block.
Yeah.
When I grew up, bro, there's basketball programs going until my mom got home from work. There's little arts and crafts things that you could do upstairs where a man might plug in his turntables, and you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
I grew fresh arts.
I grew up at a time where from Flemo City to other places to where it's like, yo, there were things that used to encourage us to get involved in the arts and this and that. And you know, like I said, there's always going to be things that happen within the neighborhood, but the thing is, it's just decline. So I can't even look at it to say like it's a music thing, it's a rap thing.
Yeah.
It's a city thing. It's a societal thing.
Yeah.
To where these people are not, they're not investing in our communities the way that they should. So when you see our communities moving a certain way and you see the youths them moving a certain way, sometimes we might look at the youths and say, yo, look, I'm to these little bad, you know what I mean? These little bad youths or whatever. But I'm not a person that can blame the result of the fuckery. You understand what I'm saying? It's like they most of them either don't know any better or don't have the opportunity to do something else.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about our music scene now, I honestly don't think that it's a result of just people on bullshit and ops and fucking whatever. But it's deeper than that. I'll leave the certain there's certain, notable rappers from the city that like my mom used to, like my mom knows some of them because, my mom is from the time I was little was like she worked within several different communities, you know what I mean? And she was somebody who, helped some of these families when some of these kids are going to jail. My mom was the one that's working with the parents to get them out of jail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you this real quick thing just to big up my mom and show you where I'm coming from. I remember when we I guess it was because it was my wedding anniversary. So that's June 13th, 2019 when we won the chip. And when everybody was downtown.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? When
Classic time.
Yeah. It was such a sick time. I remember I was leaving out about 3:00. I think it might have been me and like maybe one Regin. And we're just walking, leaving the little eating center area. And I remember there's like this one youth, and there's like maybe like 8 youths with him or whatever. And the man said, he said, yo, Cardinal, yo, I want to talk to you. I said, yeah, what going on? He said, yo, just come over here, let me talk to you. Now, if you're from the road, some more time, like, you either getting robbed, you're getting jumped, or something. So, whatever. There's no, like, when you're in the middle of it, you don't have no time to whatever. So, whatever. I was like, yo, if it's going down, it's going down.
Yeah.
So, I said, yo, what going? You know what I mean? And the man said, yo, I just want you to, like, show your mom. Yo, bro, your mom helped the man them. You know what I mean? Like, yo, your mom is a real one, fam. Like, enough times when the man them, you know what I mean? Like, when the boy them came or they came to the area for the raids or this, that, or whatever, like, your mom is a real one and really, helped us a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Helped my moms or, even sometimes people don't even think about, like, we just think about these youths getting locked up. We don't even think about the effect that it has on their families.
Yeah.
The stress and the money and the bail and the this and the that. And it's like, my mom been doing that from as long as I can remember. You understand what I'm saying? So again, this is just going back to just showing you it's deeper than, like, I don't want to, like, participate in the dumb shit, because as a grown man also, like, me personally, I think it's kind of clown shit more time. Like, when you're a grown man and you know better and you don't speak better. Some people might look at Cardi and be like, yo, who's this guy? Like, some goody, some who's he think he is, you know what I mean? But who I think I am is somebody that I want to see our city. I want to see all of the mans them be able to get to an age where they can have some grandkids.
Yeah.
I would love, Bridget, you know how many gangster niggas I know that like they grew, they evolved, they got into real estate, they got into, they own businesses. Excuse me, like they might even own like a janitorial service to where, you understand, to where they took some man them from the block and they're like, yo, let's do a thing on Jiffy. People are linking Jiffy. All of a sudden, more time, they're subcontracting people to make up bread. So now they're making, people can change their life, bro.
They can evolve.
They can become legit. And sometimes a man can say, you know what? Sometimes right now, man's like, yo, if it goes down, whatever. And all the John Wayne shit. But sometimes it reaches a life where, a time in your life to where there is that thing that is important enough and valuable enough to you to where you're like, it's not about, yo, soft, I'll take the L for this because of whatever, to where you're like, you know what? Nah, my little daughter is more important than that. I need to reach home for my daughter.
Yeah.
It's a thing to where, nah, man, you know what? More time, I see what my brethren is going on with, and he's going with a real thing. And I think he could be somebody. You know what? You know what I mean? There's things in life where I think for everybody, at some point in time, hopefully, somebody finds something that is important enough and means enough to them to where they put down the fuckery.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's a real thing. Sometimes people find it later on in life. You know what I mean? And that's just real. So I hope in between the youths, them knowing themselves and really look, you know what I mean? Like finding out about what it is like to literally become a real man. You understand what I'm saying? Who is dealing with like real life shit. Because Bridget, when we were young, we were all dealing with levels of fuckery.
Yeah, we were all wilding.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were all doing like, we all have stories.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, it's to be able to sit down here with you, bro, and say, man, like, look at the way God protect me, bro.
Yeah.
Look how I'm still living and breathing and prospering. When sometimes I link with people, I say, yo, I'll go on. They're like, yo, I'm just here. I'm like, nah, bro, you're not just here. You're living.
You're living,
You're
man.
living, man. And more than that, you have the opportunity to be more than just living. You can thrive. You know, and that's the ultimate goal, I think, for everybody. No matter which way you go about it. And I think this musical journey has been incredible for me because, I've been in rooms. Yo, bro, there's so many stories. I tell people all the time, these podcast things, bro, there has to be like part 1 through 10. Like, Virgin, if I tell you talk about dangerous, we just talk about the fun little number one part of it. We didn't tell you about times when there's some gangsters in Germany, some bikers who booked us shows, and we're in the middle of nowhere, Germany.
Yeah.
And we're like, and Virgin, and we reach, and it's some big, dirty biker youths to where they're like, yo, Dangerous is me and my girlfriend's favorite song.
Oh, shit. I thought it was going to go a different direction.
No. You understand?
Yeah.
To where like, we're like, yo, these men could done us if they, you understand? We don't speak the English. We don't even know where we're at. But music has taken me to them places where it's like some of the realest killers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a respect and a love for the tune, or we've performed for the royal family. We performed for sheikhs in the Middle East.
That's crazy.
Music can take you there. And that's the thing that, one of the last things I want to say to impart on the people is that, like, yo, we can't keep thinking so small. I think that's what Jay-Z was trying to say when he was, remember there was the argument about the money phone and all that?
Yes.
I think what he was trying to say is that, like, yo, he wasn't trying to diss because it's a money phone, but he's like, yo, in the grand scheme of the world, that's such a small thing.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's people, yo, bro, when you go to Dubai and you even understand how their license plate works, to say, yo, the least amount of letters and the high, like if you have A1, that license plate could cost $1 million for the license plate. And we're here talking about what, 10 grand?
Yeah.
A 20 grand,
phone.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there's just levels to the thing. But what I want for every Toronto artist, every Toronto creative to know is that this gift that you have, can change your life, change your family's life, change the city's life, change the country's life. You know what I'm saying? And that's the realest of the real. So I would say for everybody out there that really has a real passion and love for music, yo, like just lock in, stay with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stay with that. Keep going at that, man. Like, and it seems to be getting more and more, the more access we have, it's just the more and more noise that's out there, and it's difficult to cut through the noise.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm not going to tell a man or a woman how to do their thing, but like, if the clout is the thing that you're putting up front, don't be upset when people don't know you for your music.
Yes.
Lead with what you want to be known by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want the music to be your main thing, then keep the music the main thing. If you want it to be your side thing, then just understand it's your side thing.
Yeah.
But just understand that, you know, this music is a blessing, bro. This entertainment thing that we're in is a blessing. And
Yeah.
you can see the best things ever in life just through being able to put words together, put ideas together, you know, put energies together, put people together.
No, that's real talk right there, man. That's wise words from the legend KARDINAL OFFISHAL, man.
Man.
What you got coming up next? What's going on for the rest of the year?
Boy, you know what? There's a lot of things going on. Shout out to my man Moots, actually opening up a barber shop.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna start talking about that soon, but that's at Big Up Upstairs Chairs, you know what I mean? That's at Coxwell and Danforth. So, you know what I'm saying? That's my first entry into the world of barbers, but you know what I mean? The barbershop thing. These glasses, you know what I mean? This is a Cardinal and Look Again collab. So these are, you know what I mean? These are one of 4, you know what I'm saying, of a limited run that we're gonna put out. So the sunglasses are gonna drop. Of course, Let 'Em Out is out. So respect due to everybody who been streaming and everybody who's gonna start streaming. But you know, depending on when this interview comes out, the next single that comes out, if you guys been watching Power, you know about my boy Rotimi.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The next single I have is a tune called Soak, and that features Rotimi. You know what I mean? So lots of it's a good summer, man. It's a good summer. There's a lot of good stuff going on, man.
As they say, booked and busy.
Boy, I would just say bless and bless.
Yeah. No, I love it, man.
Yeah.
KARDINAL in the building. KARDINAL OFFISHAL in the building, man.
Yes,
Big
man.
salute to all the sponsors you're going to see rolling across the bottom of the screen. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff.
Yes.
I'm going to take us out with that tune that I was asking about earlier because that Barkardi Slang question, I needed to make sure to ask that. So
I'm going to ask you a rap because people go back and forth loose, but are you team Barkardi Slang or team All Time Killing as the bigger tune?
Oh, the bigger tune is All Time Killing.
Okay.
Just from technicalities, metrics, or whatever, the bigger tune is All Time Killing.
Okay.
My favorite is Barkardi. Actually, my favorite is Hustling.
Oh.
Right? I have a lot of times where I have to not play Hustling in the beginning of our podcast because I've played it like 3-4 times and I'm like, people are going to catch deja vu if I keep on introducing the podcast with Hustling. You know what I'm saying? So if I, now that I have you here just to let you know my favorite KARDINAL songs, it would be Hustling.
Yes.
Right? Because it just speaks to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Hustling, Barkardi Slang, and then All Time Killing, and then Dangerous. That's my list of favorite KARDINAL songs. And then I'll put Set It Off as number 5. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Boy Wonder. Yes.
Yeah. But I say all that to say, I'm going to take us out with Barkardi Slang, man.
All right.
We are off of this, man.
Word up.
Deuces.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.